If you've been spraying your plants, picking bugs off, trying to stay on top of pests, and it's still getting worse, you're treating the wrong pest. And that's exactly why your pest control isn't working. You're treating the wrong problem the wrong way, and it's costing you your plants. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 types of pests that cause most problems in your garden and how to treat each one the right way so you can stop it early and save your harvest. All right, first type of pest. You might walk out and see leaves starting to curl like this here, or notice that sticky, shiny residue that's sometimes on your plant and think, probably nothing. But this right here, this is where it starts. Now, a lot of times what this ends up being is aphids clustered under the leaves or inside the leaves that are curling. The bigger problem I'm dealing with is whiteflies. Now, brush the plant, and when you see those tiny white bugs fly up, that's usually when you notice them. But by the time you see them flying, they've already been multiplying under the leaves. Now, this first category of insects are sapsuckers. That includes aphids, whiteflies, spider mites, leafhoppers, and even scale insects. Remember those we had on our passion fruit tree last summer? They all damage plants the same way, by piercing into the plant and feeding on its sap. Aphids and whiteflies actually tap into the plant's vascular system, the part that moves sugars through the plant. So they're literally draining the plant's energy, which is why the populations explode so fast. And this is where it turns into a bigger problem. They don't stay in one spot. The aphids multiply fast. The whiteflies actually lay eggs under the leaves. What starts small spreads quickly, and as they feed, they leave behind that crazy sticky honeydew, which you might have seen, which actually attract ants and can lead to black, sooty mold on your leaves. If you've ever seen ants all over your plant and wondered what's going on, this is exactly why. This one gets a lot of gardeners, and it's not your fault. So you can see how these pest issues can get out of hand fast and cause big problems in your garden. So the important thing is handle it first when it's a minor infestation. So here's what I do if I just have a few bugs, they're not really spreading yet, like these aphids here. I will knock them off with a strong spray of water from my hose. Might even have to rub the leaves a little bit. And most of them get knocked off and can't crawl back. And you want to repeat this every couple of days and make sure that you keep an eye on it. Whiteflies, though, here over my raised bed are a little bit different. The adults fly, so water doesn't affect them or doesn't eliminate them. But what it does do is knock back any eggs that might be hiding under the leaves, and that's where most of the damage is actually happening. Now, if it becomes a major infestation, this is a big problem, and that means if it's spreading plant to plant or really covering one plant, that's when I step it up. I use an organic spray, Monterey Takedown. Now, I've used Monterey organic products for years because they work, and I keep going back to them. It's a contact spray, so it works by coating the insect and killing it quickly. But you do have to actually hit the pests for it to work. I always spray in the evening because that helps protect beneficial insects and helps prevent leaf burn. I focus on the undersides of the leaves because that's where the pests live and lay the eggs. That's the key to sapsuckers. You have to hit where they are. Now, I also spray the soil lightly because there can be a lot of them down there too. And Takedown does kill all stages of the sapsuckers, the eggs, the larvae, and the adults. Now, instead of the sapsucker damage, if you're seeing damage like this, holes in the leaves, chunks missing, ragged edges, this is a completely different problem. You spray and nothing happens. You come back the next day and it's worse, much worse. Maybe you've had that happen. I definitely have. This is something chewing at your leaves. Cabbage worms, caterpillars, beetles, even grasshoppers. They're actively eating your plants. These are leaf chewers. Instead of tapping into the plant and piercing the plant and sucking the life out of it, they're physically eating the leaf tissue. Leaves equal energy, so when these leaves are getting eaten, you're slowing growth and cutting into your harvest. You might walk out and think, this looked fine yesterday, what the heck? Now here's what I do. If it's just starting and still a minor issue, I can hand pick them off the leaves. And again, you want to check under the leaves because that's where they like to hide, and also along the stems. But if the damage is significant and turning into a major infestation and spreading from plant to plant, that's where I bring out the big guns. Because over here, it's really infested. Over here, we've got some holes in my cabbage leaves, but I definitely don't want it to spread. Before it becomes a major infestation on this side of the garden, I'm gonna step it up and use Monterey Garden Insect Spray with spinosad. And this is where treating the wrong pest with the wrong treatment really costs you. You can spray it for sapsuckers all day if you want to, but it won't fix this. These pests have to eat the leaves. So you need something they ingest. You could hit them with a contact spray like Takedown and knock a few out, maybe. But these are much bigger, tougher pests, and some have harder outer bodies. So you might take out a few, but you're not stopping the damage. And that's when you come back the next day and it's worse. But spinosad, like is in garden insect spray, works much differently than Takedown. It affects their nervous system. So when they feed and chew on the leaves, they stop feeding quickly and then they die. This is how you shut the leaf chewers down. So what I do here is I spray the tops and undersides of the leaves with my garden insect spray and focus right where the damage is happening. I'm gonna have to pull that entire section of plants out now. It's way too infested to be able to grow again and then plant something else. And that's how you protect your harvest. Now, if you've ever walked out to your garden and thought, what the heck happened here? Everything was fine last night. Because the real damage isn't happening up here, it's happening down here at the soil level. And oftentimes it's happening overnight. You'll see shredded, uneven holes, not clean cuts, low on the plant, sometimes even right at the base. And a big clue is slime trails on the leaves or the soil. That's your sign you're dealing with our third category of pests, ground chewers. Slugs, snails, pill bugs, earwigs. Now, slugs and snails are what's called mollusks. They actually scrape the plant surface with a rasping mouth part, which is why the damage often looks shredded instead of clean. Now, pill bugs are a whole different animal, and that's the biggest problem I have in my garden beds are pill bugs and earwigs. They're actually crustaceans related to shrimp and crabs. Now, they normally break down organic matter, but when populations build up, they'll go after tender young seedlings like mine right here, especially at night. They all hide during the day in cool, damp spots, under mulch, boards, buckets, or debris that you might have around your garden beds. And they often come out at night to feed. And here's the key with these though. The easiest way to deal with it is to prevent it. Because once they're active and chewing away at your plants, it escalates fast. Remove your hiding spots. If you have any boards or old mulch laying around your garden, remove those so they don't have those hiding spots. Pull the mulch back from the base of your plants and clear out anything that stays cool and damp. And I would suggest to water earlier in the day so the soil surface dries out by the evening. Because these pests need moisture. If you take that away, not completely away, but just focus on watering early in the morning, you'll slow them down. But if you're already seeing damage, you've got to interrupt their cycle. So what I do is oftentimes when I'm planting something, just to help prevent them, I sprinkle down an iron phosphate bait like Sluggo Plus. I've used this for years. And what I do is I sprinkle it right in the soil around my little seedlings, right where they're active. And I do like to put this down right when I plant anything. So I'm getting ahead of the problem before it even starts, and especially around my little lettuce seedlings here. Now what this does is it disrupts their digestive system. They eat it, they stop feeding quickly, and then die off below the soil surface or crawl off somewhere else to die. But the important thing is you're not seeing any more damage on your plants. Now, if you don't take these preventative measures and treat the problem, this keeps happening night after night, more damage, you're getting more and more frustrated. And this is where a lot of us gardeners lose it. And we're like, what in the world is happening to our plants? You can't treat this like sapsuckers. And you can't treat this like leaf chewers. That's the important thing. These sprays are not going to fix what is happening here. These pests are working at the soil level, at night, in moisture, but you use the right fix and you shut it down fast. Now you know exactly what pests you're dealing with and how to stop it before it gets out of control. That's the difference between staying ahead of it and losing your plants. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today in the garden. If this helped you in any way figure out what's going on in your garden, please subscribe and also drop a comment and let me know what pests you're dealing with right now. I'd love to hear about it. Check out our seed collection over at CaliKimGardenandHome.com, and all the tools I used are linked below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time in the garden.